Michelle Cordeiro, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and look forward to chatting a little bit about the networking side of the business, the importance of business chambers, networking events, being part of the community. You are the director of membership development at the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, connecting our town one business owner at a time. And you really are the master of networking and connecting people and putting people in the right spot. It's been a huge help to us and our organization. You threw us right in there right away about a year ago and helped us. So thank you for that. But we'll really get into how we can help other business owners.
Thank you so much, Charlie. That's so sweet and very much appreciated. We're so grateful to have such an incredible business community and professionals like yourself. And, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I have been with the Chamber here in Oakville just about a year and a half. I can no longer say I'm new, but I, prior to that, have a background working for various corporations, business development background, and the, takeaway from my experiences, relationships, and how integral those are to, success in anything that you do. So happy to touch on that.
And why, so when did the switch flip, if we can paint the picture for people listening of why did you, this is more almost a giving back role, it's so selfless of who you are as a person you're simply here to help businesses, grow businesses and connect new members of the community. What was your why to kind of switch things up a year and a half ago?
Yeah, I think, probably like a lot of people during the pandemic, it allowed me to kind of take a step back and reset and reevaluate what I was doing, what was important to me. I wouldn't necessarily call it a midlife crisis, but I think age and life experience led me to the change. I decided I wanted to work in the community that I live in and that I hold so dear to my heart. So previous to this, I was, a commuter, like a lot of individuals, not everyone, but, commuting to Toronto. At one point, I had a role that I held in Hamilton. And I thought, COVID made me realize how little time I actually spent in Oakville outside of the weekends. And I still wanted to be entrenched in the business community. I love business. I love the community. I love people. So I think it was serendipitous in a way. The opportunity came up and had, a chance to connect. And it all just, meshed. And I'm definitely at a point in my life where, when I meet individuals, it could be their third business or first business, business owners like yourself. I had some really integral mentors and amazing people along my professional career. So I certainly just love to share any knowledge that I think can help business owners or anybody that I cross paths with.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So from a networking perspective, obviously we get it. It's important to connect with people, be a part of the community, but what would you say you're being in this every day is a first step for those, whether they're a shyer individual or the first step is to get out of their shell, get involved a little bit. Maybe it's a new brand or a new business. They're trying to make some connections. What would the advice be for those individuals?
That's a great question. I think that the first step is to try. And we try as a team to be as supportive as possible, understanding that, some people are really great at running their business behind the scenes. And I'm not a business owner currently, but I can imagine, and what I typically say is you have to take yourself out of the business to grow the business. And sometimes, getting out of your comfort zone. But certainly I think taking time to build really strong relationships outside of the business that are complementary to your business are key. And I'm so grateful in the line of work that I'm in now and with our local chamber that, we create opportunities. That's essentially our mandate is to create opportunities for businesses to thrive. We do that in a variety of ways, but I do promise you, when we first connected, come out, get to know our community. You're going to essentially meet other like-minded professionals, and it starts there. But there are some kind of tips and tricks happy to share. But I always say, just try, just give us a chance. And, I try to be as supportive, understanding that, okay, now I'm familiar with a lot of people that I see, but this may be, somebody may have just relocated their business or is new to the country or maybe has been in business for 10 years and has never been to a networking event. So we really try, and I personally really try to make people feel as comfortable as possible. And by doing so, selfishly, we see more and more new faces, a larger variety of different types of business owners come out because it was something they never really thought they needed to do. And I think the last thing I would touch on is, and what I've seen and what I talk about with, professionals here and some of our not-for-profit organizations and the staff that work, because we are an organization comprised of for-profit businesses primarily, but also not-for-profits. We've got a great community here of not-for-profits, but essentially, you know. Post-pandemic, I think people are really truly understanding the value of connection and developing those relationships. And when you meet someone in person, you have a way stronger conversation. And I think people are email exhausted. I talk about this a lot. We love social platforms. We utilize them. They're amazing. But, even LinkedIn invitations, if you don't have a point of reference to somebody, like we all right now, bandwidth wise, we were talking about it earlier, it's super busy. You're more than likely to connect with somebody that you've established a relationship with. So the key to having strong relationships is getting to know people, and then you take it from there.
Awesome. So not everyone is as fortunate to live in Oakville or be a part of your guys' organization, the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, and have people like yourself to be able to hold their hand and introduce them to the people that matter to them. What their business does, that sort of thing. So for those like that are getting dropped into a room of people that they have no clue who they are, what would you say, like, I guess the first step is, or not first step, but like advice for them on how to kind of like move around the room and get talking to people, like and what do you see? Because you see this every day.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that's a great question. And even outside of this role, I had to I'd walk into rooms with people I didn't know in previous roles that I had. And, as much as I love connecting with people, funny enough, I tend to be a bit more, I identify more as an introvert. So walking into a room with people I don't know, I understand that feeling. And I think that's why I really empathize with individuals who maybe are new to networking. But I would just say, start the conversation. If you're a business owner, what is your business? In 10 seconds or less, if someone were to ask you, what is it that you do? Really have an understanding of how to start the conversation. Practice at home, practice with a friend, and really, be able to just share what it is that you do. I would always start by introducing myself. I walk up to people and they're not in conversation. Sometimes it's a little scary, but hi, my name's Michelle. What business or organization are you from? Start the conversation. It always takes someone to do that. And, if you're not part of an organization that offers events, try to find, online, anything that's going on in your area. Maybe it's an online group. If there's nothing in person or you have to drive a little bit, but, the internet's a great resource. And I think there's really no harm in just starting a conversation. That could be at a local coffee shop, getting to know the owner. Let's say you own a digital marketing agency, say hello, and don't be afraid to talk to people. And the one thing I oftentimes, think about is what's the worst thing somebody can say is no, or not talk back. And in that case, you've done your best and at least you've tried. But more likely than not, I think if your approach is sincere, respectful, and kind, I think at the very least you've just met someone new. And maybe it's not a business contact, but it's someone new you didn't know before. So.
And what would you say is something like to stay away from, I guess, or like a big no? Because personally, what I hate is when people walk around just handing me business cards and I have no clue who they even are.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So I think the sincerity, and I think you're right. It's not about just handing off business cards because you've not created a connection. So we actually have a member who has a retail business, and I like to use it as an example. She's actually shared, she goes into the room and let's say she's there for 2 hours. Her goal is to meet 5 new people that she's not met before. So she's openly seeks out 5 new faces and people she's not connected with before and has quality conversations. I think we often talk about quality versus quantity. So from a quantity standpoint, if you just kind of hand out your business cards, people haven't made that connection. So it's almost better to just take it slow, make an introduction, and perhaps you meet somebody who you may not have a connection with from a business point of view, but they may know somebody
Right.
who therefore, I'm sure it's happened. Oh, Charlie, I know somebody who may need your services. But by taking that extra bit of time just to have a proper conversation, I think goes a long way. It's more about quantity over quality. Excuse me, quality over quantity, and I think you're right. I think being respectful is super important. So if someone's in a conversation, not just rudely interrupting. Sometimes I have to insert myself in conversations, but I'll just say, excuse me, I hope you don't mind me jumping in. I've done that with you where I'm like, you need to meet this person. That's my job, but it's a little bit different. But I think just being respectful is super important. And, just courtesy, like me, if you take the time to, say hello at the very least, you're going to leave a better impression than just here's my card and not introducing yourself. So always introducing yourself, letting people know what you do. That's more impactful. Oh, Charlie, this is his business. And then when they look at your card, they have made that connection versus just you're like, you look at the card and recycle it because you have no idea who gave it to you.
Well, yeah, and like I find just being there is like not really with the purpose. Like I know it sounds counterintuitive, but not with the purpose of like it's transactional and just like I'm gonna get all these jobs from this. It's just like to meet cool people, and the people that they know is what the return's gonna come from. But like I'm curious what you see this every day again, like what you'd recommend as business owners are so busy prioritizing. Like there's events every other week.
Right.
And if you're part of a few chambers, you can fill your schedule with events is what I'm getting at. Like
for sure.
What should someone a little bit newer to this environment really look out for and I guess prioritize? Like what's
No, that's great. I think just not feeling overwhelmed. We are always going to have a ton on the go. And we will see some members out once or twice a year, depending on where they are on in their journey with the business. We are always here, so we understand some members' work is seasonal, for example. So, we just like to reassure our business community that, you're busy running a business, but when you need something, we're here to support. If I was starting out or if I was speaking to somebody who just started their business, I would say, take yourself out of the business once a month for 2 hours. Come out to our open networking event or the breakfast event we have. We're asking for 2 hours a month. Schedule it like a meeting. You'll see, a tremendous, I'm not going to speak to it personally, but you'll see it builds. You're building connections, you're building potential clients, sources of referral business, relationships. It all comes down to relationships. I speak to members who offer services or they're in the digital space or retail. And, it's so great when I hear our members say, oh, I met so-and-so at an event and they stopped by my store. And then, that person, it's a more of a grassroots approach, but I think to complement other things that businesses are doing, you obviously have to run the business. If you're not just starting out, but you have somebody dedicated on the team who's in a business development role or sales role, that would be what I would suggest is really having that person kind of
like sending them to the events.
Absolutely, yeah. Because at the end of the day, there's a band. You have a limited amount of bandwidth, and the key is to keep that business going. So. Again, I'm not a business owner, but from what I've seen, kind of assigning and delegating. If you're in a position where time is a challenge, then, the great thing about that too is from a succession point of view, people get to know the business. And as much as they love dealing with the business owner, they also build trust with all of your staff and the name and the brand. So if you're just starting out, come out at least once a month, and people get to know you and establish a relationship with you and your business. And if, your work is highly seasonal and we're not able to see you and you have the ability to send one of your, amazing staff out, who's really great at, representing the business and the message, then that would be my suggestion. So as much as we love to see you, Charlie, if you can't make it out, then definitely send one of your great team members.
So I know just in the Oakville Chamber, there's many incentives and amazing companies you guys work with, whether it's insurance or benefits or what do you feel more like not Oakville specific? Um,
Right.
what's your recommendation to look for of business owners, whether it's like incentives being offered or working with discounts and other companies? Like, do you see that as a common thing throughout chamber boards across Ontario and Canada? And is that something for people to look out for and keep in mind?
Like in terms of return, like becoming a member and being a part of the organization,
Yeah,
is
and
that,
more so
yeah.
the member benefits.
Yeah.
More on a bigger, broader scale opposed to Oakville. Like, is that a common thing to look out for? Is that Oakville specific?
Yeah.
Like, and how can they use those benefits to their advantage?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and that's a conversation I have with individuals who are interested in kind of learning more about how we can support them. I think it really depends on the type of business. So if it's a well-established business, their need for us may be very different than somebody who's just starting out. So the great thing is there's a variety of member benefits. We do tremendous work in a lot of the chambers across Canada, government relations and advocacy. We're very fortunate to have our colleague Faye, who manages that. Businesses that are starting out and need help with their open permits, or larger manufacturing businesses that are here or in Canada that encounter red tape. That may resonate with a different type of segment of the business community, but still very relevant. Small to medium sized businesses definitely see value in supplying, the group benefits to their staff, for their families, something that would otherwise be perhaps unaffordable. That's something that we offer, and a large part of our businesses that are, part of our organization take advantage of. Events may not resonate with all of our businesses. Some businesses are holding it down, whether it's a retail location and they're not able to make it out to events. So one thing that I'm really excited about that we've done as a team more recently is, bringing awareness to what a chamber is. I still meet people day in and day out who don't know what we do. And I love that question. I love sharing what we do because it does mean something different to everybody. But we are trying to remain as relevant as possible, and that's speaking to our next generation of business owners. And I remember speaking to you and kind of explaining what some of the things that we do are. Some of it we promote. Other things are intangible and are kind of events of opportunity, like when we host private roundtables or some of the mentorship that kind of unfolds organically. So I would really suggest, if you have a business and you're looking to develop, strengthen that business, grow that business, the member benefits will vary depending on the space the business is in, but certainly our goal is to make sure that we keep an open line of communication so our members see value.
Right.
At the end of the day, like most organizations and for-profit businesses, you need your ROI. So we work really hard to provide that for our members. And for some of our members, it's like, I'm in Oakville, I want to support, our local chamber because you do great work, and that's all they need, and we appreciate their support. Some members actively attend every event or as many events as they can. Other members want to give back in different ways and connect with our not-for-profit organization, so it means something different to everybody. But we're happy to kind of take anybody through those questions, and it helps us to understand what a business owner's goals are.
Right.
Then we can say, you know what, this is what we really feel can support you. We've just launched an app, which we were super excited about. Again, really trying to find ways to remain relevant to our business owners and for the future. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and like just I think it was a year ago. I can't remember when
Yeah.
you guys you guys dragged me into this whole thing, and
I think you voluntarily showed up.
it's been amazing. Like every event,
Great.
there's someone new I'm meeting, and someone either most times it's they can help me, but we can help them or help someone they know.
That's amazing.
There's always like that's the biggest value it's been for us. But you're right. Like
That's
it
awesome.
depends the size of the organization, and there's
Hmm.
so many other ways. It's not just networking. Like you guys had
Right.
the trade show event. You guys have
Right.
like keynote events. There's so much to be a part of it.
Right.
So for those bigger organizations and they're experiencing red tape issues, like what does that process look like, and how, like more specifically, do you guys and Faye help with that?
Yeah, I'm probably not the best guest to go into this, but Faye and Franz lead the charge on our government relations and advocacy and do tremendous work. Reviewing, putting together, and passing policy that affects our local business owners. So, if anybody who's listening has a question about that, something that affects their business that we can support them with, we're happy to help. It's pretty much, there's not like one blanket way,
Like
but
based on what the issue is or what the struggle
exactly.
is.
But, from an organization point of view, part of the reason why we host elected officials, we're nonpartisan at the chamber, but really, decisions that are made by our elected officials impact us as residents, as business owners. And so, I have a meeting set up with Faye, just an upcoming project that's going to affect some of our local larger businesses. And part of it is, being a communicator and keeping, and that's one thing that, I believe our goal is to help be connectors and help communicate and bring the business community together. So if that's a major project that, some businesses are just really busy running the business and may not know what's going on or what future plans are, maybe something that'll affect transportation for them in the future. We have a pulse on that, and our goal is to ensure that we share that information and are, essentially, their podium of record is how we refer to it. And being able to support them, and oftentimes that's maybe taking something to the provincial chamber or federal chamber. But we certainly we're so fortunate because we are actually the only chamber in Halton that has a full-time staff member dedicated to
Oh,
government
really?
relations advocacy, and Faye does tremendous work.
Wow.
So we're really proud of having her on our team and all the amazing work she's done. So
Awesome, awesome. And in terms of like advancements and continuing to get better and in your words, stay relevant, I
relevant.
guess just since a year ago, so much has changed
Right.
and it's all for the better. What are a few things that are upcoming and that you guys kind of have in the works to
Yeah.
improve, I guess the experience of everyone involved?
Yeah, I think that well, we have an amazing team and amazing leadership. We just did like a membership survey because we want to hear from our community and some things that we can work into future plans. But event wise, we try to focus future plans on what's relevant to the business community. So we did a Moving Energy Forward event because there's so much around that affects local businesses in that space. Transportation, even as a resident, purchasing decisions, for example, as a business owner who needs to buy a fleet of vehicles in the future, are they going to go EV or, all these conversations are, very, very important. So I think maybe you'll have to interview me again to get more information out of me. But I will say that, we're excited to, roll out continue to roll out, impactful, relevant events that start conversations where you can, and I'm sure you've seen, when you attend an event, maybe the intention is to attend and have a great evening and learn something new, but then you make these amazing connections because, if you were attracted to that event, similar people to you are there as well. And then
Yeah.
all those organic conversations happen, which is great. So definitely event wise, our communication from a social media point of view, we're trying to bring awareness to what we do. So, Rachel does an amazing job of that. We have a great team, and we're a not, we operate as a not-for-profit, so there's some limitations, but anything that we can do that we know will benefit our community, then we're all hands on deck. And
That's
so
awesome.
stay tuned.
That's awesome. And just talking to Rachel before this, mentioned a few things about AI, and that's just another
Yes.
attest to like how relevant you guys are. Like you guys are staying,
Thank
and the
you.
value providing to the community. And just to preface for those listening, if they're not if they're not sure of the fact, or like paint the picture of what the actual community is like. What, isn't it? It's quite a big number of people who are members, right?
Yeah, so we are, so currently I believe there's 9,000 businesses registered at
Wow.
last I checked in,
Wow.
well, I'm sorry, in Oakville. We have just under 1,000 members. So about 10% of registered businesses are members. So keeping in mind, we have a lot more work to do to bring awareness to what we do. We're super proud of our community. And, our numbers are growing. Our membership grew 25% last year. So maybe I should have started with that. But no, it's really our goal is to continue to bring awareness to our mission, and that is to elevate the business community. And we do that in a variety of ways, many of which, depends on what business you're in. But we're super excited because, Oakville is thriving, Oakville is growing. Some of the stats, if I'm being Oakville specific, but, population is set to double by 2050. So with that, we'll see more businesses here, and so the more we get the message out about what we do. So you having me here today and talking about the chamber and
Yeah.
your experience with us and networking and how that's been beneficial is certainly what we're aiming to do, is just get the word out there. And it's great when someone says, I don't know what you do. And I'm like, let me tell you. And then we take it from there. But we're super grateful because when you became a member, as I'm sure you don't mind me sharing, it was like, well, what is it that you do? And
Yeah.
and I think I may have said, let us show you, and that's part of it is, and as your business evolves and grows, like we have businesses that are now very large companies that started in their basement and are, we love those stories when businesses have just started. We love your story and how you started your business. And we see it as a compliment to what you're already doing. You're successful because you're great at what you do, but we're here if you get stuck, if you need support, navigating resources and grants, things like that, that you may not even be aware, are available to you. And, I'll use our president, Franz Fournier's line, running a business oftentimes can be lonely because you're kind of just running your business. And sometimes, even the social piece of connecting with other like-minded individuals, removing yourself from the business, if it means connecting for a coffee with somebody you met at an event or coming to an event. There's so much value in that too. It's that connection piece. And it almost, I can't speak to it, but I've heard members say, like when they're having moments and they don't know what to do, sometimes talking to another business owner, maybe in the same space or not, they may be super stressed out and then they realize, everyone's going through this. And then it just allows you to feel like it's going to be okay. So there's almost a therapeutic element to being a part of this community. And when we talk about the numbers and how many members we have, our biggest goal is engaged members who want to be involved long term and get it right. It's not about just showing up and handing out business cards. It's really wanting to work and support each other. And that's the type of community we aim to build because, then, maybe 20 years from now, you're mentoring someone else who's starting out. And that is what creates a really healthy community outside of business. And yeah, that's what we're trying to achieve.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And like you alluded to this very well, Michelle, of like how all the knowledge is out there. And a mentor of mine says that to me all the time. Like the knowledge is all out there. You just have to go get it. And
Right.
whether it's you're in a rut or having issues within the business, I guarantee there's someone who's having those same issues or had those issues and have the
Right.
answer now, and they're part of communities like this. So I think it's so powerful what you guys are doing, connecting
Thank you.
like-minded individuals. So that's That's great.
Thanks.
And yeah, like the first event, I think it was like the golf event. And like
Oh, right.
I'm like great, like we'll be able to play golf. But the end of the night, I had a pile of business cards and people that we've done business with and just
Amazing.
become friends with.
That's so
So
great.
it's so cool to hear that. And for the community of Oakville,
Hmm.
like how and I want to frame this the right way. Um, Bringing people together in a professional way. Like we can have events and go and drink and this and that, but like where do you guys almost draw the line of like all the events we go to are enjoyable, they're fun, like it's awesome,
Hmm.
but keeping that professional level within like the Oakville business community, like how do you guys maintain that throughout all your events and what's the importance of maintaining that for
Yeah.
you guys?
Yeah, I think, there's like an understanding that we are, a professional community and level of respect. Obviously, we have bylaws and all of that. We've not had an issue. I think, it comes from it's the messaging that we put out there and what we communicate. So there is a sense of what is to be expected. To us, respect is paramount, and we just are. I'm not going to use the word luck. I think the community gets it, and people understand for the most part how to interact, and we're grateful for that. That also, I think, is something that people pick up on from our team, and what we hope emulates from what we do and how we host and how we present ourselves and the communication. So by doing that, it's important for us to create environments where people feel welcome, where people feel comfortable. And if at any point something is a barrier for somebody to getting involved with us, we would hope that someone feels comfortable just reaching out. They can reach out to me or any one of our team and have a conversation. At the end of the day, like I said, it's about relationships. So it's not about talking to somebody to have them join the chamber. Oftentimes, I speak to people who may not be ready or it doesn't resonate with them. But if I've left them with some more information about what we do, they may have a child or neighbor and they can pass along the information. So it's really important to me that we bring the best to everyone we connect with and everyone we speak to, because it may not be for everyone. They may be in a different part of their business journey, but it's important that it's a positive interaction. So respect is paramount for us. If somebody's looking for your information, we typically, will reach out and say, hey, so and so is looking to connect with you, because we value your time and we want to make sure you're not just getting a bunch of emails and requests and things like that, because we respect you as a member, we respect you as a business owner. So I think for the most part, yeah, maybe you can attest to it, but I think people are generally understand why they're here and are typically engaged and understand it. Some people are new and need a bit of more time to navigate, the community or even networking, and that's where my role comes in. And Maria, who works, she and I work to support our members. That's sometimes it takes time to try anything new, but we're here to support. And my role is essentially community relations and supporting our members. So I'm out there in the community, and sometimes it means you don't even have to come out to an event. But if I see a connection,
Right.
I connect members sometimes on email where I see there's a viable connection. That's what Maria does as well. And we're always working on behalf of our members. We really keep everyone's best interests in mind. But we're a small team, so we always say that let us know when you need something, and let's stay connected.
It's awesome. That's awesome. I wanted to tap into that simply because some people think networking, I'll just go to the bar, I'll just do this. But I really think it's important to draw that line of like, no, this is, a there's high value people here and you're here for a certain reason to meet some amazing business
Yeah.
people. And we talked about, I guess, the newer, not experienced person who's networking or kind of new to the environment. For those who have been in it for a while, like what does it take from them to keep things moving, whether it's referrals or keep connecting people or because it's not just you guys. Like, you guys are an amazing team,
Oh,
but
thank you.
it's everyone in the room doing their part as well. Like, what are those few things?
Yeah, I think it definitely takes time and effort. And I think that's like with anything. So you wouldn't, expect to join a gym, probably not the best example, but as an example, if you join a gym and you never go to the gym or try any of the workout routines at home or change your diet, you won't see results. So I think like anything, if you're looking to gain, if for example, build connections, then you have to put yourself in a situation and mindset where that's your goal. So, of course, we offer supports for that. One of our members did an amazing podcast with some tips and tricks. We're here to answer questions and help our members navigate, but you definitely get what you put in. So, if you make the time, and for example, you're engaged. When you show up, you are willing to have those conversations and be authentic, then you're going to kind of, essentially reap what you sow. And, I think authenticity is super important. And it's not about like, you have to look at the big picture. If it's like, oh, I just want to get business or new clients, people sense that and it's not authentic and you miss the messaging. People want to work with people they know and they trust. And it is really a long-term commitment. I think if you have a business, your goal is to grow and continue to establish a business. To me, that is wanting to be in business 20 years from now. And how do you do that? You would probably know best, but you are taking the time to get to know your clients, getting to know other professionals in the community. If you refer somebody, you want to make sure it's somebody that you trust. And that's not just finding somebody online, right? That's somebody you've met, you've worked with, you've done work together. So I think bottom line, if somebody's new, ask for help. If you need support, be authentic and be consistent. So if you're starting a business, definitely make sure if you're going to put yourself out there and networking is important to you, try to come out at least once a month. That consistency is key. And then you'll just see things flourish from there because, similar to like marketing and touch points, sometimes someone needs to see you or see your
Multiple
ad
times.
7 times before they actually like, I'm going to, give Charlie and his team a call. But because they've seen you frequently, they also see that you're involved. And I think, funny enough, we talked about this internally. No specific data, but there is information out there about how new consumers are making decisions, and it's not just about the best price. It's about working with companies that are socially responsible, that are connected to their community, local or global. And I know that's how I make a decision. I want to, work with somebody perhaps that I've been referred to that has a good reputation, but also, do they care more about just the business or do they work with a local charity? That's important to me. So maybe not to everybody, but more and more, I think we're starting to see people making decisions, not just based on, in some cases, maybe the lowest price, but I think people are willing to, depending on the type of business, it's about the quality. It's about, are they a good business? Do they have a good reputation? There's so many kind of variables. So,
Well,
yeah.
and an important point that you kind of remind me of is 1,000 people, but 1,000 people knowing at least 5 people probably that could use your services or your help. But also the thing for us is like, I hate saying no to people. And like when a
Right.
client is like, oh, do you know a plumber? Do you know someone who can do my marketing?
Yes.
It's like, yes, I know this person, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And just taking a selfish or selfless
Yes.
approach to an organization like this of what you guys are doing, I think it'll all come full circle, and playing the long game is how people need to approach that. So
Right.
that's awesome. I appreciate you putting that out there. Before we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to add or points you feel are important to business owners and entrepreneurs locally?
Yeah, I think if, I'm grateful to be here kind of talking about this. I think if anybody has questions or is unsure, it doesn't hurt to just ask and get involved with the community. And it doesn't necessarily mean get involved with your local chamber or board of trade. And actually, fun fact, they're used interchangeably. Some people ask questions. Board of Trade is the Anglo term. Chamber of Commerce is the Francophone term. So they're essentially the same type of organization. If a little fun fact, but I think get involved and ask questions. And there's a ton of great resources out there for business owners, whether it's through the region, Canadian Chamber of Commerce. So many great resources, and just if you need support, just ask. If you're interested in doing something different, I also think it's really important to pivot and stay relevant. So I've noticed that with the work that we do. I think as a business owner, sometimes you can get away with doing things the same way all the time, but maybe you need to upgrade your, communications. Maybe you need to look at different forms of advertising, and just get out there and connect.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Always changing. And one of your guys' values of like just you guys operating is so easy to see is keeping things in person and how they should be in face to face with this whole virtual thing going on. This world, the pandemic definitely sped that up, but that's the direction everyone and everything is going. So
Right.
you guys maintaining this level of old-fashioned networking, but bringing your guys' modern touch to it. You guys have your app. You guys have and really directed for business owners' success. Period. So
Yeah, no, thank you.
Where can people, if they are local listening to this, where can people find you? Reach out to you guys, the Oakville Chamber. Where do they need to go if they're interested?
Yeah, thank you. Oakvillechamber.com is our website. All of our links to socials are on our homepage, but we're on Instagram, LinkedIn. Actually, LinkedIn I think has our highest engagement, followed closely by Instagram, which took the first place spot for a while. But check out our content. Our page is public, and if anything resonates with you, get in touch with us. info@Oakville Chamber if you want to send us an email or connect with us through social. But we'd love to connect with you. And a little tagline maybe to finish is connect with us and connect with each other. So
That's awesome, Michelle. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Appreciate it.